Okay. I intend to seek knowledge and to teach, to benefit myself and to benefit others, to remind myself and to remind others, to profit myself and to profit others, to urge adherence to the book of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to invite to guidance and to guide to that which is good, to sing in the face of Allah, His pleasure, His closeness and His reward subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's continue with our Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم ارزقنا يا ربي فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين في عافيتي يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم افتح علينا فتوح العارفين وفقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل واهدنا إلى سواء السبيل اللهم انفعنا وارفعنا وعرفنا بالعلم النافع وانفعنا به أنفسنا وأهلنا وأوطاننا وديارنا وجميع المسلمين يا إله العالمين. Right, not sure whether Mariama is coming or not. So usually she likes to. She doesn't like the. She doesn't like the video. Oh yeah, I'm still on Zoom. Yeah, just a lot of them are not here. Because I have to stand up sometimes. Alright, alhamdulillah, we are continuing with our surah, surah hijr. Inshallah, we should be able to finish by today, inshallah. Alright, continue on. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. When I'm on this page, I can't see them coming in. Yeah. Suppose, is it? She will be able to admit people. Yeah. So how do I do that? You must inform them. Inform them. Who's the one? Or you can be. Or you can be. I'm not on. Oh, you don't be. I don't be online. Let's share that interference. The sound. I think never mind lah. If they, because I cannot see it. How come it doesn't appear? On my screen, it's. I'm sharing screen, right? That's all. Yeah. Because Ini ada kan? Ini ada kan?
Yeah.
So I can add people here. So screen doesn't see. Okay.
Yeah, just put your cursor up there.
It's okay.
Yeah. Then you see it. Because if you don't put it there, I think this one will go off. Yeah.
So I think once I go into the then we will try. Seems to be okay. Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Last lesson we did 67 to 84. As mentioned, this surah, the verses are rather short, so we actually did quite a lot last lesson, 14 verses. We've got another 15 to cover. You see how? Last lesson we went through the people of Lut, rejoiced at the presence of the angels, and we know what their condition were and how they were. And Lut alayhi salam reminded them that they were his guests. This is to prevent them from disturbing his guests. And he appealed to them not to shame him. He was their leader, and to do such a thing would be very shameful to him. He told them their taqwa of Allah and not to disgrace him. The two conditions, two appeals made by him. And at the same time, he tried to appeal to the sense of taqwa. They blame him for taking in strangers. They blame him for doing what he did. Of course, he didn't do it the way he wants to do it. And he told them to take the woman as wives. And you can see. All right, then we continue. Allah swears by Rasulullah Sallallahu life that they were intoxicated, wandering blindly. That means we understand that in this condition, in this state, it is not easy for them to actually think rationally because they are like drunkard, they are drunk, and they cannot think rationally. All right. Then we have the rumbling overtook them at sunrise. So that was the punishment that they had. So that was the punishment that they had, and they were at sunrise. They were today I didn't give the signal. Same. It's the same every week. It should be the same, huh? All right. So let's watch. All right, so the thumb was turned upside down, and the stones were rained on them as liquid. Raining. Is it coming? The intelligent ones will show the signs and will know the signs and can infer from simple things. So here you can see Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is actually reminding us. He uses a very different name here to remind us to those mutawassimin, those people who can think by looking at signs around them. And Sodom is on the road that exists, it's still now there, and these are signs for believers. So Allah reminds us that if we are believers, we can see things very easily. Then we went on to the dwellers of Aika, which we understand is the people of Nabi Shu'aib, who were living in the woods, and they were unjust, they were punished, and both are on the clear road. That means the people of Aika and the people of Lot their remnant, their remains can be seen, and so we will learn lessons from what has happened to them, the stories of them. All right, we were told of the dwellers of the rock who rejected the messenger. So this one would be Nabi Salih alayhi salam. And again, we see that the stories that we have, they are very short stories. It doesn't go into detail. It is just about disobedience, punishment, punishment. That's about it. Basically, the message to pass through is: if you disobey, you'll be punished. They turned away from Allah's ayahs, and they hewed houses in the mountains for security. The people of hijr were destroyed by a very loud blast. What they did earn did not benefit them. All right, so the others all waited for the link, but then they realized that it must be the same link. All right, we continue with the verse. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Wa is and ma is not. خَلَقْنَا, we created. Samawat, the skies. وَالْأَرْضِ, and the earth. So when we see the word the skies, we remember, we understand. It humbles us because our perceptive powers are not able to actually understand the reality of the seven skies created by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Wama bainahuma, and whatever is between them, wama bainahuma illa bilhaq, except with the truth, and illa bilhaq. Wama bainahuma illa bilhaq. Wama is and what? Baina we know is between. Huma, two of them. So although the samawats is a lot, but it's considered as one entity, and the earth as one entity. So between these two, right, we have the creation of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Wama bainahuma illa, except bilhaq, in the truth. He is in or with. With the truth is also appropriate there. You can put with the truth or in truth. I think with the truth is a better word. So وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. وَإِنَّا, and surely sa'ah, the sa'ah, لَآيَاتٌ, definitely, surely to come. Fasfahi, then overlook. Now look at the word fasfahi. Fa is then, isfa is to, safaha is to overlook. So this is an amar. Fasfahi, instruction. Then overlook, right? It's supposed to be fasfah. But because you want to continue on to the next verse, the he is inserted. Right? If you learn grammar, Arabic grammar, you know that there is no such thing as a kasrah for the mudari. Mudari is only dhamma, fatha, or sukun. Alright, so the kasrah here is because of ease of pronunciation to go into the next verse. Fasfah. Alright, wa inna sa'ata la'atitum fasfahi safahan jamil. Safhan, again overlooking there. Right, so here we can see this is called a descriptive phrase, or we have a sifah wal mawsuf, which means we are describing. That is why we have beautiful coming in the translation, beautiful first, and then the overlooking. So the overlooking, the beautiful overlooking. Right, it's the beautiful overlooking. All right, so here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala moves back after reminding us of the punishment that were meted out on the people who were disobedient to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Allah reminds us again. This has been recurring again and again of the teachings of the creation of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And we do see that in the presentation and of the reminding of the creation of Allah, Allah actually varied the way He approached the subject. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ, and not we created the skies and the earth. وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا, and whatever is between the two, إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ, except it with the truth. إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ, except with the truth. Haq is truth, duty, right, justification, just cause. So this is all the meanings of haq. So you can have different translation, but of course in this statement it is with the truth. The truth is central to the design, structure, and management of the universe, central to its destiny and the destiny of all that it contains. Of course, if you create something which is false, then it is false apart. But it's not true, right? So of course, something which is true is very critical for all of us to understand that Allah created all these things in truth, and every single thing that is there in the skies, which we don't know what are in the skies because we only know the sky of the earth, which is sama. So here Allah refers to the 7 layers of sky, which we are just not able to comprehend because it is in the realm of the unseen, in which we are not able to understand and comprehend. So Allah is telling us about every single thing that He has created with the truth. Allah says, I did not create any of this except with purpose. And the fact that it is with purpose, what fortifies that it that the hour is coming. So that comes in the next sentence. Wa inna sa'ata la'ayatun. And surely the sa'ah, definitely it is coming. Atiyatun. Definitely a thing that comes. Atiyah. So we have wa inna is an emphasis there, and inna. The sa'a is an ism. The sa'a, lam, definitely la. Instead of saying the sa'a is coming, right, we should be using a verb there, right? But Allah actually used atiyatun, and we know atiyatun is an ism, right? So that is really, really strong emphasis there, with the lam as an emphasis and atiya as something. And it sounds like a man, a person. Actually, if you look at the structure of the verb, sorry, of the noun, right? It looks as if it is a creature coming to you, right? So that is a sa'a. So here, as mentioned just now, in the creation of all these things, we are reminded that there is an opposite, right? This world, there will be a next world. The sa'a reminds us of the opposite. If you do not believe in the day of judgment, then there is no way for you to appreciate that the world has purpose. Love of emphasis. All right. So we have one participant here. So yeah. It's good. It's nice to have people around to talk to. Anyway, I thought there will be a few more, but never mind. It's okay. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, because of the big. All right. So here, definitely. So when we understand that the creation of the earth is a purpose, so our life has a purpose also. We are just not here to live on earth, enjoy ourselves, amass as much as we can, and die, and that's it. As some people would say, live and let live, and we die and we are gone. No, we are not. There is a purpose in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is a moment in which everything that is created will be destroyed. And we don't know what it is that will come. We don't really know how our condition would be at that time. We don't know what happened to the earth. We are told a few things about the sa'a from the various parts of the Quran, and we are aware. And we believe that the sa'a will come, definitely will come. Although there are some scholars which actually say the sa'a could be the moment of death. But here, it is more of that time when the whole earth will be, and the whole creation of Allah will disintegrate somehow, where Allah mentioned that the sky will rip apart, the sun will twirl and will draw in the rays and things like that. Because, yeah, this is the first blowing. This is the first blowing of the horn. So what I'm saying that because Allah is talking about the creation, then he talk about the sa'a. That means he's telling us that there will be a moment when the whole of the creation will be destroyed at the point of the sa'a. All right, so it is really pointless without the day of judgment. The last hour is a part of the truth which sustains the universe. This means that the hour itself is true and it will come to establish the truth. So it is part of the truth that Allah has mentioned here. It is people who don't believe in judgment day have the audacity to say that the world has no purpose. As a man's everlasting troubles and entanglements have their roots in his lack of ideology and correct system of beliefs. And briefly speaking, it is disbelief in the origin of existence and in the resurrection. This is some problem actually for some of our youngsters out there, because they are from the secular background where they actually read about evolution and things like that. So they do question this concept of Nabi Adam alayhi salam, what happens to the dinosaurs, especially when they grow up with dinosaurs and they want to know why dinosaurs have disappeared and what happened to the dinosaurs, why the Quran doesn't talk about the dinosaurs and things like that. Right, so here, human beings who don't believe in the world, they say have no purpose. But if you even say the world has no purpose, then why are you rushing after the world and trying to live so much for the world, right? And amassing so much money, and then what happens after that? Where are we going after that? So this kind of thinking has caused people to just get lost in this world, and they deny the next world because they don't want to believe in accountability. They don't want to believe that Allah has created this world with a purpose, and you will have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will be questioned for whatever we have done on earth. But with that belief of the next world, with that belief that this world is created for a purpose, our life becomes purposeful because we believe there is purpose in this life, and we do things which brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in doing those things that bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're actually developing ourselves. So we become people, we become real human who cares for everybody, who cares for the environment, who cares for everything around us, because we understand that there is a purpose in our creation, and the purpose is with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Sorry to everybody that waiting for the link. Just a I come to think of it, it should be the same. All right, the Quran returns to the issue of monotheism and of resurrection after describing in the situations of nations such as people of Lot, the people of Shu'aib and Saleh, those who were entangled in all these situations. So by reminding us of these stories, Allah is telling us when you do things that are just too bad on earth, that means you just create so much corruption, then Allah will actually remove you, right? And you'll be punished in this world and you'll be punished in the next world. And the removal of you is to protect the society in itself. Because some people will question, how come now there are so many things happening, and things are so bad for the Muslims, and yet Allah is not punishing all these people. And there are so much crimes out there, so much perversion out there with homosexuality, with all kinds of things, and yet Allah is not afflicting any kind of punishment. Hamza Yusuf actually was saying, because he stays in San Francisco, and there's a very a fort there, a fort line which once it moves, and that's it, the whole of San Francisco is gone. He's so worried actually, he says, because of so much sins around him, that he just most probably it'll just come anytime. But Allahu Alam bisawab, whether it will ever come or not. And we must believe, yes, because we must believe that Allah knows, right? Allah is all knowing and all wise. He knows exactly when to afflict the punishment on the people. And if He does leave them alone, that means they are in trouble. All right, Allah says, no, understand that this world is created for a purpose. There is truth in Allah created every single thing of the earth and the skies and anything in between with the truth. So we can see here in this part of talking about creation, Allah is not talking about the creation per se, right? Allah is talking about the reality of the creation here, right? And the reality of the creation brings us the reality of the day of judgment. Now, if we understand the day of judgment, we understand the Sa'ah, and Allah says, why live life holding grudge? That's why He says, first, just overlook. Move on with your life. Don't allow your life to be bogged down with hatred, with anger, with spite, with this, with that. That's why He says, fasfahu, just let go. And He says, fasfahu, sabhan jameel. Not only just fasfahu, He can just stop there. Fasfahu, right? Let go. But He emphasized the kind of letting go. He says, sabhan jameel. It reminds of Nabi Yaqub alayhi salam. He says, sabrun jameel, right? So he said, sabhan jameel. So it's sabhal. So of course, sabhal jameel, not sabhan because of the al. So it's the overlooking, the beautiful overlooking. Not only a beautiful overlooking, but the beautiful overlooking, right? So sabha means to face. And the phrase sabha is fasfa, is safa, Sofha, Fasfa, Fa, signifies turning one's face away from someone, but not out of one's outrage, but to do that for forgiving and overlooking in case of one's compassion and out of one's affections. Well, you talk about compassion and affection here, but yes, she enters all the class. Sorry, yes, we don't take one. All right, so as mentioned, and so we turn our face away from that situation. We know this person is doing something wrong, but instead of being upset with the whole thing, or instead of getting angry, instead of having sense of disappointments, all these things are there. You don't only have to be angry in overlooking. It's the disappointment, it's being discouraged, right? Some people, they say all kinds of things that's so discouraging, and it really hurts you when they say all these things, but you you are supposed to go on and look away from it and turn yourself away and move on to something which is much more beneficial for you, because you understand that you will have the sa'ah coming. That means you will be judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you don't want to be bogged down by all these kinds of emotions that actually pulls you down, that actually pull you down in your life and makes life very unbearable for you. All right, so it could be compassion, it could be affection, but doesn't have to be compassion or affection as mentioned, right? Because not everybody that say things which are not pleasant to you, right? And you are actually full of compassion. And maybe you're compassionate in the sense that you feel sad that that person would go to that length, right, to try to demean you or to try to cause you such unhappiness. So you feel that sadness for that person. There's compassion there in some sense. So and also affection as a believer, most probably you have this love for your other part, and you actually would want to move away so that you do not cause him to be in a state of trouble. Imam Rida radiallahu anhu has commented upon the Quranic phrase, Safun Jamil, as forgiving without inquisition or with no taking to task. That means you do not just forgive and let go. That's it. Just move on. That's what it means. Safha, which means a page also. Safaha is also one of the words to forgive, because forgiving is like turning the page. Just turn away the page. You look at the page, it's so upsetting. Okay, like turn away the page and just move on and continue with your life instead of dwelling on something which is very unpleasant. Yes, turn over, but turn over really means more of your bad and then the page is like so. I mean, this is so a picture which is so upsetting, or even a video. No, you just if you don't want to see it, yeah, just skip it because it's not worth looking at. All right, this word is also used when you forgive in a way that you don't let the baggage carry over, because once you turn the page, you don't see what's on the previous page anymore. So turn the page, so as you can see, there are two ways of looking at this word. It is turning the page or turning your face away from what has been upsetting for you. All right. In pursuit of this goal, he commands his prophet to be lenient towards them when facing their obstinacies, ignorance, fanatism, meddling, and their intensive opposition. Of course, here we are not talking about a mere daily affair where we have interactions with people whom we are not happy with, but it comes around to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When we look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the struggles that he has to go through, the difficulties that he has to go through, the insinuations that he has to go through, right? And of course, the opposition, nonsense talk, and everything is there. Whatever the Prophet experienced, we will experience in a smaller amount. Sometimes we have friends who talk nonsense, and we just can't stand whatever she's saying. So just move on. Don't allow ourselves to dwell in it. To overlook their sins and forgive them with a beautiful forgiveness, which is not even coupled with any blame. So you don't blame them. So it's that kind of, that's why it's called beautiful overlooking. You are in a state of beauty, in a state of caring, in a state of affection. You just move on because you care for everybody, care for yourself. Also, you don't want to be in a bad state at the end of the world, right? Because Allah is reminding you of the sa'ah. As you will not be in any need or require any violence, in spite of the fact that you have get clearer evidence of your call and messenger to which you are given mission to accomplish, right? So Allah here is for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will not be in any need or require any violence, in spite of the fact that you have got clear evidence for your call and messengership to which you are given mission to accomplish. So you have a job there. Move on with your job. Whatever happens, whatever violence, whatever done, you just dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah to give you the strength. That's very important. Right? In doing this also, you cannot be just alone. You know you can't do it alone. You know this is of the instruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why in our Fatiha, when we say Iyyaka na'budu, right, that means we ask Allah that we admit that to Allah alone we become our slave, his slave. So when we are a slave to Allah, we want to obey him. And in this part of the Quran, he's telling us, move on, let go, right? So then we say, we understand that we alone cannot do it. So we need to have that strength of heart, strength of soul to move on with life. Moreover, violence against ignorant people will usually lead to further violence and their further fanatical behavior. That is also a reality with people who are unwise, people who are full of anger, people who are spiteful, people who doesn't use their brains when they talk. You want to interact with them, or you want to that means you want to reciprocate them, right? It's not going to help anything. Just move on, because it's just not wise to do that. Therefore, leniency and forgiveness is the best. It is not their revelation. It's not that their revelation isn't convincing enough. They have an attitude, so their life doesn't have a purpose. Therefore, they are not interested in hearing about an afterlife. So what it is that once you reach to that stage of that person, Rasulullah SAW, he's looking at that person and he's talking nonsense, making accusers, blaming him of all kinds of things, accusing him of all kinds of nonsense, right? So just move on, because you don't understand the reality of the message. They are not convinced enough, or they just don't want to know, they don't want to be involved with anything. So just move on and just forget about it. So when a person gets so engrossed in worldly things, they penetrate deep into their hearts. No amount of argument and revelation is good enough. Let it go. Don't be overwhelmed by it. So this is of the instruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna rabbaka huwal khallaqul alim. Inna surely rabbaka, your Rabb, huwahi khallaqun. Khallaq is a very big word for khaliq. You see the word khaliq, this is khallaq, right? It shows a very strong emphasis on Allah as the creator. It shows a very strong emphasis of Allah as the creator. All right, Alim is all-knowing. Khalaq, you can see that in the translation, it is surely your Rabb or your Lord is the creator of all things. Whereas the Arabic in itself doesn't have the word creator of all things, right? But it is trying to emphasize the word khalaq to show the greatness of that word. Because the alif word always creates an intensity and hyperbolizing it, make it more emphasized. Inna is emphasis. Surely, Rabbaka, your Rabb, huwa, he, khallaqul alim. Inna, surely, Rabbaka, emphasizing your Rabb, huwa, he. So you can see all these are emphasized, right? He is your Rabb and he is the khallaqul alim. Now remember the problem of the Arabs at that time. Their problem was that they know Allah is the creator, but they don't want to take Allah as their Rabb. They have lots of other Rabbs. Rabbs would be the masters, their gods that they have, they call themselves Rabb. So here Allah is emphasizing that He is the Rabb. Your Rabb, He is the Khallaqul Alim, which reminds them that the Rabb of Allah, Rasulullah SAW, is Allah. Because Khalaq refers to Allah, the one who creates without any, in the greatest, in the best of ways is Allah. And He's all-knowing. He who commands as to the forgiving is the Rabb, who is educator, creative, and knowing. Now, there is a lot of things involved in the word Rabb itself, because the Rabb is, of course, we understand it has the meaning of the one who gives, the Mun'im. We have the meaning of the one who cares, the Rabb, the one who nurtures, right? But here it's talking about the Rabb as the creator. So it emphasizes that Allah is the Rabb as the creator. And as mentioned, that just after this to ask you to overlook, right, from who your Rabb. And He is the creator, and He knows every single feelings of people. Ali, all knowing, He knows what happens and what's going to happen, and all these things in His knowledge. He is aware that amnesty and forgiveness have a very great impact on the soul of the individuals and of the society, and have a tremendous impact on the attraction as well as on the development of people. Right? Of course, there are some instances where you are very forgiving, you let go. And then sometimes this person doesn't even notice that you've been so good. They got so very angry, but that is part of the test of wanting to, of believing that in letting go there is a lot of good. because you might not see the good in that person because the person notice that you're always giving in. Right? So it is in yourself. It's very important that you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that you're obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, putting into practice the commandment of safa, remittal should not appear as a burden to you. Because Allah knows all, He is the creator, He knows what's happened in and out and everything, every single thing He creates. And He as a creator also overlooks a lot of things that you do, or else He'll punish you there and then. Walaqad, and surely, walaqad ataitaka, ata is gave, right? Ataina, we gave you, atainaka, walaqad, and surely atainaka, we gave you, sab'an, 7, minal mathani, of repeated, min is of, mathani is repeated, wal Qur'anil azim, and there's an end there, sorry, and the grand Quran, wal Qur'anil azim, and the grand Quran. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ وَالْقُرْآنِ الْعَظِيمِ. Azim has many meanings, right? Here we put grand, you can put supreme, because Azim can mean great, right? So it's very meaning. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then moves on to talk about the fact that the Quran, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ, وَلَقَدْ, and surely آتَيْنَا, we gave you, آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ, 7 of the repeated verses. Right, so this is of the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He emphasized it. He says, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا, we gave you 7 of the repeated verses. This is actually a response, according to some scholars, of Asbabun Nuzul. Asbabun Nuzul is the reason for the revelation. And the word Asbab comes from the word Sabab. Sabab is a Malay word. Nuzul is to reveal. So the reason for, one of the reasons for the revelation is to respond to these people who are making fun of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said, what have you been given? You talk about this God that owns the skies and the earth, but look at you. You are an orphan, you are living off of the finances of your wife, and you are going to talk to us about God of all treasures. Now, so here, again, it is an insult on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We make fun of him for the fact that he has a very rich wife, right? To them, the wife is the one who supports him, although we know that he works and he does his businesses. In fact, we don't know actually the relationship of the business, of his wife's business after he got married to his wife. We only knew that he worked for her before he married her, and she proposed to him, knowing that he was a person of great credibility, a very honest person, and she sort of believed that he would be the next prophet from some prophecies that she actually experienced in her life, right? But to make fun of him is really hurting, right? Because, and people should not say that his wife supported him, because we don't really know the reality of the businesses at that point in time. Right? Maybe he might have taken over the business, or he might have made lots of profit and she gave him part of the business. Wallahu alam, there could be a share there. So nobody really knows what happens after that. Allah says, don't be taken in by the words that they say. I have given you something that is greater than any other treasure. But we also make it specific about a particular action or a particular verb, because according to most of the authorities, including some of the foremost companions of the Prophet ﷺ, the 7 of repeated verse is a designation given by Muhammad himself to the first surah of the Quran. All right, Allah says, don't be taken in by the words that they say. That means first you must overlook. Move on. They are saying everything, they are so hurting. Don't bother. What is important is for you to look at what you have. And what do you have here? You have the first surah of the Quran, which is the Fatiha. And the Fatiha is described as the 7 of repeated verses, which has also been described by him as the essence of the divine read. It's called the Ummul Kitab. Ummul Kitab, that means the mother of the book. That means this is where the source comes from. The whole of the knowledge that we gain from the Quran itself, the source is the Fatiha. And so the Fatiha contains everything. And for us to, in fact, if you are keen on reading about the tafsir of Fatiha, we have just gone through a cursory tafsir, but actually there's so much in depth. In fact, I heard one scholar which says that even just the Bismillah only, the translation is like how many pages of tafsir. Yes, the bar itself has got lots of tafsir to it. But it's just that people are so busy, it doesn't seem to have that much time to go through everything. But what we should know is that is a gift for us. And because it's a gift, we are reminded in saying it again and again. Every day we say it at least 17 times in our salah. So as it alludes to all the ethical and metaphysical principles set forth in the Quran by Bukhari, Kitab al-Tafsir. That has been mentioned in the quotation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he has separated Surah Al-Hamd into two parts between himself and his servants. Okay, we are aware also that Surah Fatiha has a few names. One of these names is Surah Al-Hamd. All right, and it is two parts. The first part from Alhamdulillah all the way to Maliki Yawmiddin, and that is about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is for him, that is aggrandizing him, acknowledging who he is as our God and reminding us of the day of judgment. And then we go into ourselves, where we go into admitting that who we are and what we are and what we need, and asking him as a dua after that. So that is why we say the Ham is divided into the first part for Allah and the second part for his slaves. One part is in connection with him, while the other part concerns his slaves. From Bismillah, as far as Maliki Yawmiddin, this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. If we are of the opinion that Bismillahirrahmanirrahim is the first verse, there are differences of opinion and nothing to quarrel about and get upset about, right? We are Shafi'is, we must recite the Bismillahirrahmanirrahim because it is the first verse where we are concerned of the Surah Fatiha. But the Malikis doesn't see it as that. The Malikis see it as maybe other, I know of the Maliki for sure, right? They see it as Alhamdulillah being the first verse. Right? But still they have 7 oft-repeated verses. It's because when the Malikis are concerned, the last verse, right? Ihdina siratal mustaqim, siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim wa ghayril maghdubi. Basically, siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim wa ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. I mean, they actually divided it into 2 verses. For us, Siratal Ladhina An'amta Alayhim, all the way at the end is 1 verse. So they have their 7 verse, and we have our 7 verse, right? So that is of the mercies of Allah, that is of the beauty of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what is mentioned here, and the Fatiha is the greatest gift for us. Read Fatiha when you leave your house, read Fatiha when you, after every prayer, read Fatiha when you want to, ask Allah to bless your beloved family, even if they are not dead yet, you can still say Fatiha for them and make a dua via the Fatiha, and there's lots of benefits in the Fatiha. In fact, the Bismillah itself also, there's lots of benefit in the Bismillah itself. We say that every night you recite Bismillah 21 times before you sleep, no harm will fall on you. And even if in your house, let's say there's some evil around in your house, right, the evil will be removed. So, and from Iyaka na'budu, the expression of obedience in worshipping, seeking assistance, invocation, making a dua, relates to the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, some have claimed that Mathani is the Quran itself, which has many repetitions. So basically there's 2 opinions here. The Mathani means repeated. But because it's Sab'ah, 7 repeated, that means 7 repeated verses. But the verses is not there, but the word 7 is there. So other opinions are that the Quran in itself has got many repetitions, which we know also. Allah repeat on various concepts, some verses are being repeated. In fact, in Surah Al-Baqarah, if I'm not wrong, the verse, La khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun, right, which means no fear on you and you will not be grieving, is repeated at least 8 times in the Surah Al-Baqarah. So these are all the repeated things in the Quran. Alright, Allahu alam bisawab, but we open our mind, these are possibilities, right? But what is important is that these are gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Atainaka, ka is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We gave you. And also the Quran al-Azim. So the 7 verses is being specially, is being isolated for us to be reminded of His greatness. And the Quran is now mentioned. While Quran al-Azim, Allah explains to His Prophet this reality that he possesses a great capital. The capital, such as the Quran, which is as great as the entire world of existence. The Quran is honestly a great treasure for all of us, but the reality is that most of us do not benefit from this great treasure because we have not spent enough time to learn this, to get the treasures from the Quran and help us to build ourselves and be one of the best of human beings that has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we understand from Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha, when she was asked about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she says, he is the Quran itself, I mean the living Quran, right? His ahlak is of the greatest ahlak because the Quran helps us to move into people or to be people of great ahlak. And Rasulullah is said to be sent to improve ahlak. And ahlak is Islam. If you don't have ahlak, you don't have Islam actually, because you don't have the understanding of seeing beautiful words, right? So that people see beauty in you. But when you see ugly words, you don't look beautiful no matter how beautiful you can be. In particular, the Surah Al-Hamd, which embodies such magnificent content and joins man with Allah instantly and makes his soul bow and submit before him, as well as invoking him for help. So, of course, he is saying that the Quran itself is a treasure, but in particular, the Fatiha itself is also a great treasure in itself. Anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seeks to console the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam not to be terrified by the enemy's violence, their density of population, and the immense capabilities which are at their disposal. Remember, this verse is a verse at the time where Rasulullah is full of sorrow. He lost his wife, he lost his uncle, right? And they were just increasing on attacking him because they realized at that point in time, it's already 11th year of his mission, that although the number of Muslims are not increasing in Mecca, right, his influence has spread out, right? Because he is in Mecca where people come in for pilgrimage. And there are those who came in and met him and actually accept faith from him, Islam from him, and they went out to pass the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, by this time, the 11th year, I think it is 11th year, where the people of Medina came in and is asking Rasulullah to send over to Medina to teach them Islam. So that was very worrying for the Arabs. So that's why they're increasing their attacks on him to try to make him feel so disheartened and so discouraged that he might just stop doing what he was supposed to do. Yeah, he was at his weakest point and they were attacking him at his weakest point because although he is at his weakest point, right, in around him, Islam is spreading. So they are very, very, very concerned about this. So they will not allow him to leave Mecca at all. All right, the immense capabilities which are at their disposal. So they have so much things. They can do a lot of things. They can attack him. They can do anything. They can have plans with all kinds of people around there, to gang up against him and makes his life really hell. That was what it was. For Allah has made some blessings available to him with which nothing will match equal. So here we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, is telling him, never mind, they can say whatever they want to say, they can try to destroy you. What is important, we have faith. We have the blessing of the Fatiha, we have the blessing of the Quran. Stick to that blessing. When things are so difficult, when things are you're in great trouble, right, just go to the Quran. You will see the kind of happiness you gain just by reading the Quran. Even if you don't understand, the reading in itself helps the whole soul to be alive, inshallah. I saw it, yeah. It's very good. Interesting, eh?
Every session, they will still every day it's a different thing. So inshallah, yeah, but of course it's in Malay now. Yeah. But it's really good. So they will do right up.
It's very good. They put in the effort with the Quran. It's very important because many of people doesn't know how to read the Quran. It's very sad. The meaning, and this you know, and then you want to. Yes, you must get attention. Even if you don't know how to read the Quran, at least you just nowadays, as I mentioned, go through the whole of the Quran. Listen and look. Listen and look every day, do 10 minutes and finish the whole of the Quran again and again. After a while, Allah will give you the blessings of wanting to read the Quran. La tamuddanna La tamuddanna. La is don't. Tamuddanna. Remember the word which we actually had one word which we described last week, right? Madda. Madda is to stretch or to extend, right? So here is we use the word to don't strain. There are, in other translation which says don't extend. La tamuddanna. Now let's look at the word in itself. La. This is not lam as la as not. This is la, sorry. La not. And it's an instruction. Tamuddanna, the ta is a u, right? The nun at the end is what we call a nun of emphasis. So it's emphasizing to you, don't strain your eyes. Ainaika. Ainaika. Ain. Ain is eyes. So there's two eyes. Ainain is two eyes. Ainain is two eyes. So ka is your eyes. Ila, to, ma, what? Mata'na, we provided. Now we see the word is not razaqna, but mata'na. So Allah is, the word mata'a is provisions that we use on earth. And the word mata also has a meaning that it is not really a great provision. Right? It is just something which you make use in this world that you will need to live life, and that's about it. So that's what Allah uses the word mata'na. We provided, the na is we at the end. La tamuddanna aynayka ila ma mata'na bihi azwajan. Bihi, by it. Now, the word azwajan doesn't only mean wife or spouse. Right? Azwaj also has another meaning, right, which we have seen in the parts of the Quran, which is being used as groups of people, class of people, different kinds of classes. Set up classes here. Classes would be like, you know, maybe this is higher end people, you know, people that graduates, right? The slightly not so educated, and these are called classes of people. Azwajan, so we know that there's a specific class of people. So this specific class would have a specific gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Minhum of them, wala tahzan, and don't you grieve again. Tahzan is an instruction again, or we call it an amar, right? Wala tahzan, and don't grieve. Wala tahzan, alayhim, over them. Alay is over, him is them. La tamuddanna aynayka ila ma matta'na bihi azwajam minhum wala tahzan alayhim. Wala tahzan alayhim. Tamuddan, the strain means la tamuddan, the root word is maddada. Maddada, the ta is you. Because it's an instruction, it's forbidding, we call it forbidding. Forbidding, so it's an amar. So when you say, we will go on later on to the meaning itself. Wahfid, the word hafid. Hafid is one of the main names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Pronunciations are very important. Hafid is a ha, and a fil ba. The ba means that the tongue must touch the top of the teeth. Hafid, and it's hafid. So it doesn't know how hafid, cannot. It's hafid, right? That word, and the other word, and we have hafid. Right? Ha, this is ha. The other one is Allah, right? Allah, it's thick mouth, but the tongue comes out. Allah, right? Hafid, this is hafid. Hafid is to preserve, right? Is to protect, right? And the other one, the hafid, is to be low, right? The hafid, name is one of the names of Allah, the one who caused someone to become low, to become debased. All right, so wahfid. So this one is wahfid, means and to make yourself low or to humble yourself. Wahfid and humble janahaka, and lower, wahfid and lower janahaka. Janahaka, we always know the meaning of janahaka as wings. All right, ka is your wings. Lil mu'minin, to the believers. Lil is to mu'minin, believers. I don't think I finished today. All right, right, we'll understand, try to understand what's happening here, right? As mentioned, وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَلَيْكَ إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا بِهِ أَزْوَاجًا مِّنْهُمْ. Do not strain your eyes, right, to what we have provided by it groups of people or classes of people. So when you strain your eyes, the word madda, as mentioned, means to lengthen or to prolong the look. That means you stare at the people, you know, you get very, you see they get this, they get that, they get this, they get that, and that's what it means. Right? You look and you look and you look and you look at them and you look at what they have and it upsets you, it disturbs you of the things that they are given. Right? وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا. And the word ma is what? Mata'na is the provisions that is in this world that is actually not something for you to envy of. Don't envy them. Or don't get upset over what they have and how they use their things. Bihi azwajan. So Allah brings our attention to classes of people. Different classes of people are bestowed with different things. And some of them very arrogant with what they have. Some of them, you know, look down upon you with what they have. Some of them, so the things that they have with their intelligence, their prowess, their strength, right, or their status, the names that they have. You know, all these things basically, these are what troubles a lot of people, right? In life, right? Some people are brought down because they see others as better than them, or the people who are better than them look down on them and make them feel so small. So all these things are troubles that causes the mental state of people to be so much affected. So Allah says, do not strain your eyes. This is of course talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, over what they are given, right? To whatever they were given, right, of this world. This is the joys of the world. Mata is whatever you use in this world, by groups of people. Warning, always do not follow the course of action. Rather, they sometimes precede and form as warning and preventive measures. The blissful Rasulullah was never interested in the world of the disbelievers. Hence, Allah's dissuasion signifies warnings and serves as such, which causes dissuasion among other believers so as not to focus their eyes on the world of the pagans. Now, what is happening here, what they are trying to tell us is that no doubt the instruction is to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually is not envious, doesn't really strain his eyes over what they have, but the Muslims are. Remember, Rasulullah is dealing with Muslims, people, some of them maybe 10 years of Islam, but some of them are very new Muslims, right? And they still yearn for what others have. They still look at what others have, and this causes them to get upset maybe, to get envious, or whatever feelings that they have. So Allah is now telling the people, do not, you have the Quran, you have the Fatiha. Now He's telling you, don't strain your eyes over what is given to some groups of people. So learn not to be affected by what others have and by their behavior for what they have. لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has stated, he who focuses on what others hold or possess, his troubles increase and his distress will not be treated. And the more you look at others, the more you see at others, the more that you envy what people have and you want to get what they have and you want to buy this, you want to buy that, you create lots of problems for yourself. Zawj doesn't normally mean group, it means one part of a complementary pair. So when a group together, we complement one another and they are completely cohesive, they are called zawj. So that's also another way of looking at zawj. So groups of people which complements each other, just like husband and wife, one husband complements each other. So they have something so strongly in common, they are unanimous in some way, and they are completely on the same page, and they are called zawj. In Judgment Day, we will be broken up into 3 azwaj. Remember in Surah Waqi'ah, 3 azwaj and thalatha, right? Means one of a pair is just one aspect of a thing. So a pair is one aspect, azwaj shall be groups or gates. So this is where we saw the word groups. Okay? So you will be in one group where you will have everything in common and with every member in that group. So Allah says this group that has a lot of in common with each other, and Allah has given them a lot of wealth and power. The instruction given to Rasulullah is that he must not stretch his eyes towards such enjoyment. Yet it is not the eye that is stretched, but rather the eyesight. However, the picture style of the Quran depicts the eye itself as being stretched. Of course, you don't stretch your eye lah. That's what it means, right? Of course, it's not an idiom or a proverb to just highlight the fact that you are looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. You are so full of what they have. You don't seem to think that you have enough and things like that. Well, of course, Rasulullah doesn't do that. It's for the believers itself. It's a funny picture. You imagine it. Of course, when you think about the eye stretching is a bit strange, right? But that is the image that is given to people who look so long at things that others have. The eyeballs out to look at. What it means that the Prophet should not care about the pleasures that Allah has allowed some people, men and women, to enjoy as part of the test they have to go through. He should not even give them much importance or care what they do or wish for something similar to what they enjoy. As all this is of little consequence, he has the everlasting truth in those 7 repeated Quran, 7 oft repeated verses, and the sublime Quran. So remember that we are very, very fortunate people. We are very, very blessed people who are blessed with this great Quran, and we should hold on to the Quran and remember to find time at least 10 minutes a day to read the Quran and to finish through the Quran again and again and again. There's lots of benefits in it. And Alhamdulillah, here we are blessed with this opportunity to learn the Quran, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to understand it better so that we have a greater relationship with the Quran. وَلَا تَحْزَنْ عَلَيْهِمْ, and don't you grieve over them. Why is grief over them? Sometimes when you see these people, they are so full of their things, they have so much and they forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as Rasulullah, his job is to pass the message. And if he sees them not wanting to accept the message, he grieves over them actually, right? And you must not trouble yourself over their miserable fate, which is dictated by Allah's justice and by the great truth. So you remember that whatever condition they are in, Allah knows best, right? As Allah said, if Allah knows there's any good in them, Allah will guide them. So Allah knows best their condition. It's not for us to question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We see a man as a very good man, how come he doesn't become a Muslim? Allah knows best. We leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we don't even say, oh, he should go to hell because he's not a Muslim. That is also not for us to decide who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. We just leave it to Allah. We don't ask for everybody, but Allah bless them with guidance. We should leave them to face the truth. That is their reality, and you have tried your best. In this case, Rasulullah has tried to convince them, but they are not convinced, or they are still lost in what Allah has blessed them with. In this case, mata, not real blessing, because Allah has compared in the first part the real blessing that He gave us, which is the Fatiha and the Quran, and now He uses the word as mata. But to understand the word mata means just a tool. Mata means a tool. That means a thing that we need to use on earth, and after that is useless. It is just for that. So it doesn't bring us to the next world. That is what it means. So Allah uses the word mata. A short enjoyment. وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Now this is an instruction to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَخْفِضْ, from the word hafadha. Hafadha is to humble. Janahaka. Janahaka is the wings. But this one again is an idiom. Alright, it's an idiom or a proverb, which means lower your arms and care for them and be humble to them. That's what it means. And wafid janahaka, we have this very same phrase in Surah Al-Isra. If you all remember, in Surah Al-Isra, when Allah asked us to extend our wings, again, wafid, and lower our wings on them. Of course, that was to our parents. That means, be kind to them, be gentle to them, be understanding where they are coming from. Because we know it is not easy looking after parents. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Rasulullah, on the one hand, you see all these believers with all the things that they have, and they are not obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are rejecting you, and you feel so sad for them. Don't. Let go. because it is not of your duty to be sad for them. You have done what you have done, that is your job. But what Allah wants you to do right now is to lower your wings or to be kind to the believers. Lil mu'minin. On the other hand, Rasulullah SAW is told to show kindness to the believers. The Quran expresses this sentence in a figurative way, telling the Prophet to spread the wings of your tenderness over the believers. This is an image denoting gentle treatment and good care of the believers. Now, where do we see this happening in the world? For those who are aware, we see that the mother chicken, like she opens her wings and she calls her children, her chicks into her because of her care and concern. So she opens her wing and bring them in for that love and care. It's beautiful imagery. Because if we don't understand it, if we don't understand it, then you might not be able to relate well to it. This is an image denoting gentle treatment and good care of the believers, and there's protection there also. This sense is a beautiful, ambiguous, metaphorical allusion to modesty, affection, and friendliness. As birds cover the chicks under their wings, they try to protect them against all sorts of accidents and enemies. All right, we recite what we did. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ وَإِنَّ السَّاعَةَ لَآتِيَةٌ فَاصْفَحِ الصَّفْحَ الْجَمِيلَ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ هُوَ الْخَلَّاقُ الْعَلِيمُ وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ وَالْقُرْآنَ الْعَظِيمِ لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم ولا تحزن عليهم واخفض جناحك للمؤمنين. Alright, we go on to the next verse. We have Ildin. Ildin means parts or bits. Ildin, parts or bits. I'm not going to rush and finish off. If we can, we will finish. I also will do part of it next week, and then we'll continue with Surah Al-An'am. Fasda, so carry out. Fa is do, so isda is an instruction. Fada'a is a root word. So fasda, so carry out. All right. Waqul inni ana nadhirun mubin. Wa is and qul is say. That means Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being instructed here. Waqul say inni, surely I nadhirun mubin, clear one. Waqul inni ana nadhirun mubin. Surely I, right, let's emphasize that. Nadhirun mubin. So Rasulullah SAW is instructed to say, surely I. That means emphasizing, surely I, right? Don't say I, right? Allah is asking him to emphasize his state. Who is he? He is a clear warner. He is only warning. It is not his duty to look after them. It is similar to the case that leniency and affection with the believers and friends are necessary. Being decisive against the opponent is also required. And decisiveness, threats, and warnings are a necessity when one faces paganism. So they have to be firm in what they do, and they have to threaten them, and you got to warn them. This is the essential method of advocating the divine message. Of course, warning is a stronger word here to be used, because when we threaten, usually threats doesn't really happen. But warnings are real, because when you warn someone, you are really concerned for that person. So you're warning that person. And so here is more of warnings than threats. Threats doesn't go very well here actually. This is the essential method of advocating the divine message. The warning is mentioned here on its own without adding the rejoinder of giving good and happy news. What he's saying is that usually when Allah talks about warning, Allah would also tells us about a mubashir. A mubashir is one who gives good news. right? But here, the most important message here to give them is to warn them. Because we see that the various stories that we had, right, it was just disobedience, punishment, disobedience, punishment, disobedience, punishment, right? So it's a lot about a warning when this surah is concerned. The warning is more suited here as the context mentions those who deride the truth, indulge in their worldly enjoyments, and never contemplate the truth, which is the basis of both the divine message and the existence of the universe. And so we started off with that existence of the universe, and they are not aware, they do not understand the reality of the existence of the universe. They are not aware of the Sa'ah. For those who are aware of the Sa'ah, they will not live this life with grudge and such things. So this is the reality of this. So they have to be warned. So Rasulullah came as a warner. Kama anzalna alal muqtasimin. Kama, like. Anzalna, we send down, right? You know the word kama is like. Anzalna, we send down. The word is nazala. Na at the end is the we, right? So it's anzalna. Anzalna is to send down, but it means sending down once and for all. Anzalna. If it's nazalna, then it is sending down in bits continuously. It's nazalna. So they both have a causative effect. But the nazala, the fa'ala structure is continuous causative, but the af'ala structure is one short causative. All right. So kama anzalna alal muqtasimin. Let's look at the word muqtasimin. Muqtasimin, root word is qasama. Qasama, the word qasama means to divide. Qasama is to divide, or he divided. The word qasama. But qasama also has the meaning of swearing, right? But here, muqtasimin is the afta'ala structure, and it becomes a person, muqtasimin, one who is into dividing, and one who goes into dividing. Now, who are these people who divide? Allah introduced to us a group of people, kama anzalna alal muqtasimin, just like we send down on those who divide. There were some chiefs of this universe who, during the days of Hajj pilgrimage, used to divide forces at the crossroads and entrance gates of Mecca in order to tell the travelers that a person called Muhammad has got certain claims and they should not listen to him. So this is their desperate attempt to stop the Prophet ﷺ from giving in the message. So what they do is that they put gates for the entrance into Mecca. Because as you know, people travel from different parts and enter the region, the Mecca region, right? So they actually have stations, and people can enter and must meet them while entering. So they divide the group. So this is being referred to here. So why is it necessary? Because if everybody is to enter the one door, there will be too many to handle. And it was urgent for them to inform them of the presence of the Prophet in Mecca. As we know that their main problem is the spread of Islam out of Mecca. Because when Islam spreads out of Mecca, they do not have control. People in Mecca, they can punish, they can beat, they can do whatever they want to do to try to dissuade them from becoming believers. But once they go out, so that is why it is very critical for them that when people enter Mecca, right, they are told and warned about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And remember the story of Tufail. Right? Tufail is one of the Sahabas of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's a very intelligent person, very is a poet in himself, right? And they told him, don't listen to him. You listen to him, you'll be enchanted, you'll be magic or whatever. So he actually closed his ears and he didn't want to listen because he was warned. But when he saw Rasulullah and Rasulullah was saying a lot of things, his heart just said, I'm such a smart person. Why would I be afraid or be influenced? I can think for myself. So why not I listen and think for myself? So he actually take all the earplugs and then listen to Rasulullah, and he, as a person of high intelligence, right, he was able to accept the message of Rasulullah. Because they introduced him as a soothsayer, a sorcerer, and a lunatic. And one other thing which they actually highlight about prophets, which is quite common among these people, is the fact that all the prophets actually breaks up families. So it's very serious. And the prophets actually denied them of their association with their forefathers because they have very strong affinity for their forefathers. By denying what the forefathers have prayed to, right, you are cutting yourself off from the forefathers. And that is why some of them actually didn't believe because they don't want to sever ties with their forefathers. الذين جعلوا القرآن عضين. الذين, those جعلوا, they made. Past tense, ja'ala is the word to make, the waw alif at the end is they made al-Quran, the Quran into parts. الذين جعلوا القرآن عضين. All right, very short verse again. There's a few meanings to it. So we are here at the onset. When we look at the verse itself, right, we see that Allah is telling us about a group of people, those, right, what do? They make the Quran into parts. So what is wrong in making the Quran into parts? Right, we need to understand that. Who is Allah referring to, and what is the implication of their actions? Because the previous verse also is a very vague verse, if you don't understand. Right, the people who are muqtasimin, that means those who divide. Divide what? We don't know. So that is why tafsir is very important for us to understand. So we get an understanding from the reality of what was happening then, and now also it actually applies to now. When people divide and rule, so they don't want people to be together and to have a strong force, they divide and rule. And so the Muslims are wicked, or whoever it is are being wicked. So here the Quran itself, the message, first they try to destroy credibility of the Prophet ﷺ by doing that, right? By instigating different groups of people. And then now they are going for the message, they are breaking apart the message, the Quran itself. All right, those who divided the Holy Quran among themselves so as to produce each a simulation form of the Quran. Those persons who took part of the Quran for practice while leaving the other parts as practical. So they divide the Quran some parts so as to produce each a simulation form. That means they try to simulate, that means try to find a way to replicate the Quran. Now you take the whole Quran, it's going to be very difficult. Yeah, physically they separate, but in the separation, they take one small part and they find faults in the Quran. Or they find a way to simulate and make the Quran look wrong or change the certain parts of the Quran. Right? So another one is that they take parts of the Quran, some they practice, some they don't practice. That is quite common now. Yeah, a lot of people of us we find it too difficult, we don't want to follow, when it's we suits us, then we follow. The word idlin means quarrel and disputation, or it is derived from the word odo, which means cutting into pieces. Incidentally, the attribution of those who divide the Holy Quran in that form is the divine punishment. A believer is the one who accepts the Quran in its entirely, saying that whatever has been revealed has come from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not pick and choose. We do not cut up the Quran into small parts and find faults with one part and accept the other part and say this is not from the Quran, this is not good. We don't do that. So Allah is now referring to one group of people who does this kind of mischief. So the first one is also mischievous, the second one is also mischievous. The idea of ripping the Quran apart isn't just done by this muqtasimin. The idea of studying the Quran by piecemeal, that is, I like this part of the Quran, I'll forget about the rest of it. That doesn't exist for me. Oh, I know this one or two ayat, that's all there is to me. You have literally ripped the Quran apart. That's what it means. Right? Some people, they say, oh, this part of the Quran is so old-fashioned, the Quran was revealed 1,400 years ago. This one cannot be applicable to us anymore. So we should not bother about this part of the Quran, and because it's so unfair, and so we have to move on to find something which is, we have to think about the reality of the Quran. I've heard, in fact, I've attended seminars in which people have said that, this part of what is important, that the Quran is all about justice. So this is the Quran is about justice, and we see this verse of the Quran is saying this, it doesn't seem to be just enough for us, so we're going to change it to show, or we're going to understand it differently, so that we can't change the Quran, we understand it differently so that the justice prevails. So whose justice are you talking about? It's your justice. How sure are you your justice is the correct justice? Right? You must understand, if you believe the Quran as the word of Allah, you would take it as it is and have that humility in you to appreciate the fact that Allah knows better than you. You can have all the knowledge in the world, you can think you are a PhD in whatever, right? But still, you do not understand the realities of human beings. Right? To condemn the Quran and consider it as archaic, as something that is not applicable anymore in this modern age, that means you have not believed in the greatness of the great wisdom and the great knowledge of Allah Subhanahu. So this is what's happening. You see that happening quite a lot among our people also. Some scholars even took this further and argued we should study the Quran cohesively as a text. That means we do bit by bit, you might get confused. That means you should just go through and understand it as a whole text and to understand the beauty of the Quran in itself. The surah is a Meccan revelation, but the Quran addresses mankind generally. These were human beings who divided the Quran into parts, and they are responsible for their actions. The Quran has served a clear warning on them, as did their own scriptures. The Quran and the Prophet were not unfamiliar to them. Allah has formally revealed scriptures to them, therefore they should have received the new revelations with acceptance and submission. This is, of course, referring to the Jews and the Christians, those who had the book of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Right? Of course, when we talk about the present situation here, this is now in Mecca still, right? But this is the year where most of the message has already passed on to Medina. And in Medina, we've got the Jews. Right? The people of Medina was very receptive of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because they were informed of the coming of the Prophet by the Jews. And the Jews has even given them guidelines on how to identify the Prophet. So when they saw Rasulullah SAW, they knew straight away that this is the Prophet because they had all the clues about the Prophet, just like Salman al-Farsi. Salman al-Farsi was from Persia. The name tells us he's from Persia. He traveled from Persia all the way to many parts of the Middle East, right? And he worked under various rabbis, Christians and Jewish rabbis, and they have told him of the coming of the Prophet and described to him the Prophet in itself. And so when the first time he saw Rasulullah, he knew straight away that's Prophet. So what happens is that when the Jews realize that there is a possibility that this Prophet is an Arab Prophet, they are trying to find faults with the Quran itself, right? So that the people will not embrace the Quran because they saw where they are concerned, right? Misrepresentation of the teaching of Allah in the Quran itself. They say, oh, how come Nabi Musa taught us this? How come this Prophet taught us this? There must be something wrong with it because he's teaching something which is not what the Prophet does. But of course, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has mentioned that they know the book as they know their own children. That means they know this is definitely from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It cannot be from anyone else. Among such people in Arabia were some Christians and Jews who were not ready to accept the Quran with complete submission. They accepted parts of it and rejected others as their prejudice dictated. These are the ones whom Allah described here as the ones who break Allah's revelation into parts. So we can see there are a few opinions on the meaning of breaking the Quran into parts. And so we are aware, so it gives us a better understanding of this part of the verse. فَوَرَبِّكَ Fa is then. Now when you see the word wa, remember the word wa has a meaning of and, not but. But wa is also a swearing. وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا. So the wa is a swearing. How do we know the wa is a swearing? We look at the word Rabb. It's Rabbi. When you have a kasra, it is swearing. Right? So وَاللَّيْلِ وَالشَّمْسِ. Wadduha we cannot look because wadduha is fixed the structure, so we cannot see wadduhi. Right? So it's wadduha. Right? Wal asri. So it must be an e. The wa follows by an e. Straight away tells us that wa is what? Wa of qasam. Wow of qasam. Qasam means wow of swearing. Right? So fa wa rabbika, then by your Rabb. That's what the word by here means swearing. You swear by your Rabb. Rabbika. La tas'alannahum. La nas'alannahum. La is lam of emphasis, surely. The na is we. The root word here is sa'ala. Sa'ala is to su'al. right, to question or to ask, sa'ala. That other nun, you're following me, you have la, then you get na, then you get sa'ala, then you get another nun with a shadda there. La nas'alannahum. So the alanna, that is also called the nun of emphasis. So we have double emphasis, lam of emphasis and nun of emphasis. And hum is the wala nas'alannahum ajma'in. Ajma'in is all together. We will ask them all together. فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَسْأَلَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Sa'ala. The nun is we, the na is a we. Sa'ala is to so'al lah. The Malay word so'al, so'al, same root word. فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَسْأَلَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. In this verse, Allah swears to himself. He said, then by your Rabb, that means Allah swears by himself. Your Rabb is of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Presenting himself as the Lord of Muhammad, as the Rabb of Muhammad, as the Master of Muhammad, as the one who nurtures Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as the one who cares for Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all these verses here is there to show his care and concern for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a Rabb of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as the Master of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By the Rabb of Muhammad, so as to prove his splendid position to the people. That means Allah swears by himself who is the Rabb of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It shows the great position of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Following their state of unbelief as the Quran, and they are dividing it, the Quran implies that they shall see the punishment for this evil act of theirs, and they will be questioned about it. See? Allah swears by himself that for surely, definitely they, that means those people who try to divide, those people who try to break the Quran into pieces, right? All of them will be questioned. All of them will be questioned. All right, the next verse. Amma kanu ya'malun. Amma of what? Kanu, they were. Ya'malun, doing. Amma kanu ya'malun, of what they were doing. All right. Some translation says amma, an is about lah. Ma is what? Amma kanu, they were or they used to. Some translate as they used to do. Right. But if you say ya'malun, nicer to say doing, because there is a part in the grammar of Arabic grammar which says that kanu, and kanu is added to a present fi'al mudari, it becomes so continuous. Right, so that means were doing, was doing, are doing. It depends on what you are saying there. So what they were doing. What they were doing, right? They were doing lots of nonsense. Incidentally, the subject in question in this verse is, we ask them what they worship and what answer they would have to offer the prophets. They all have no answer. And in general, the fact that attention is focused on interrogation and auditing of accounts in Resurrection Day, and the fact that everybody is going to be asked questions regarding everything in itself, is one of the factors in the awakening process. What they were doing, of course, here, if you want to talk about the specific here, we talk about those who try to divide the Muslims apart, and make them quarrel here and there. This is happening also, right? And also picking up the Quran, confuse people with the Quran and everything. So also this happens. So all these things that they were doing, they will be questioned about it. Amma kanu ya'malun. All right, so it seems that we are not able to finish our surah, but we have another 5 more. I think our next verse is surah. We went until 99, so the next one is 94, which is 5 more. Right? I should have completed that. We will be too rushed to finish. Impossible. I got 5 more. Right? Next week we will continue, inshallah. Allahumma arhamna bil Quran waj'alhu lana imaman wa nuran وهدى ورحمة اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وأطراف النهار واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين. اللهم استودعك ما علمتني فردده إلي وقت حاجاتي إليه فلا تنسينيه يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابة لنا في ديننا مع أهل القطر أنثى وذكر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم العصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلى الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم. So Allah will see you all next week. So next week we might be finished or we might not be able to continue with Surah Al-An'am. I'll send out the books inshallah. Hopefully I can finish completing the book.